Hey everyone, it's Rita. It's Rita from Miss Rita to the Rescue. Day after 4th of July, and even though I didn't party, I'm a little tired. I don't know why. And I'm going to wait until I get some people on before we start this week off of Cricut Chat. If you're new, this is our daily live Cricut show that we've been doing for a couple months now, and we talk mostly about Cricut stuff and crafting with our Cricut or Cricut machines, and we usually run it Monday through Friday starting at 9, usually runs half hour to 45 minutes. And then we also have, on Saturday night, we have Date Night, which is at 7 o'clock, also here on Facebook. But you can also catch everything on the replay on YouTube and then in various Facebook groups. So if you can't be here at 9 o'clock, then you can always catch the replay, and which is actually, hi everyone, hi Christy, Sydney, I want to talk to you offline, Dorothy Martin, hello Dorothy and Penny. So I'm glad to see that I have a few people who have already logged in. So this morning I was checking my email and I got a beautiful letter from Teresa. You all probably know Teresa. She's from Canada and she's been with us on these daily chats. Oh, it's raining in Dallas this morning. Hi, Lisa. And I also got a beautiful letter from Lisa, an email, and it was really wonderful, very encouraging to get these emails. But Teresa was talking about having to go back to work and how she's going to miss us and how she might be able to catch the replays, but she had to go back to work. And thank you for sharing, Penny. Really appreciate it. Oh, so yeah, it's overcast today. Maybe it's overcast everywhere. Hi, Rosalind. Good morning. So, it got me thinking this morning about like why we started doing this, and also just different things. And I know for me, I'm home most of the day, and I don't have like a job that I have to go to. So when this whole pandemic hit, it made me think, what can I do to sort of encourage people and work with Cricut and stuff like that, and come up with some things. And I came up with this show, and I hope it's been helpful to you all. And I'm going to continue to do it. I'm not saying that I'm not going to continue to do it, but more and more as the countries are opening up, people have to go to work, and I think through the summer will be good, but we'll have to maybe reassess time in the fall, maybe go a little earlier, or I don't know. But it's something that I'd love to hear your feedback on. But one of the things that Teresa said to me in her email was that she really loves all of the different designers, but she really, money's tight for a lot of people. And can we do more things with Cricut Access? And because a lot of us have Cricut Access, it's like a monthly thing, but you pay for it once a year. And I totally agree with her. I love to present projects for Cricut Access, because for the most part, everybody has Cricut Access or knows what it is, and then they don't have to pay for projects like every time a new project comes out, or we do a new project. So I wanted to tell you that I was committing to doing more Cricut Access projects going forward. And this morning it's no different. We're going to be working on a project to make this really adorable card. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using our scraps. Are you a scrap keeper? I have a lot of paper, as you guys know, but one of the things that I cannot do, you just can't do, is I cannot bring myself to get rid of these little scraps. So I cut something out, and maybe I use an 8.5 by 11 or even a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and I will have my leftover paper and I cut them out. And I keep all of these things so that when I have a project that only uses a small piece of paper, I use my scraps. And I have this little, very, very, sophisticated system of keeping them, which really is just a box underneath my desk where I just cut out. So all these things came from scraps, from things that I've done in the last month or 2 months or whatever. And then when I go to do a project that has a lot of colors, like this one, I keep it's probably about this size is what I keep. I think that's like 4 by 5. That to me is worth saving. Although I have been known to keep these, 2 by 5 kind of thing. And I just, basically what I do is I cut out, and I'll show you, this is my scrap, is that I'll cut out these pieces and then I'll use it to make cutouts. And you can use something as small as this, which is like 2 inches, not even. So that's why I keep them. And I'll be honest, I don't use them all the time, but and so at the end of usually a year in the spring when I'm cleaning my studio, I will give them away to either schools. This year I gave them away to a mother-daughter team that likes to make cards in my local community. And, I use some, but then I'll have others things, and I can find people usually through the free cycle to give my scraps away. And I just find this method so useful, especially with these piece projects that require, just a little dab of color. I mean, obviously this piece, you're not going to be able to use scraps for, or the green piece, but the different colors of the flowers, it's perfect. It's perfect for that. So, let's see, and I want to just read everyone's comments. You save them as well. Okay, so I'm not alone in thinking that people, even though crafting is a bit expensive, we're looking for ways to save a little money and still do crafts. Because, I think that's why we all love sales and we all, look for places to buy paper or products and everything. We invest couple $100 in these machines, and it gets pretty expensive pretty fast when you go to add materials. So that's always been my situation. I love to craft, but short on cash, so I look for ways to be frugal, and this is one of them. So let's talk about Cricut Access, because I think that's something that people aren't so keen on. I'm going to move you a little bit, okay? So they don't understand always, especially new folks. Well, Cricut Access is a membership program that is run by Cricut. And it gives you all kinds of special, gives you all kinds of special discounts and stuff like that. But for the most part, what it is, it's a membership program that allows you to have access. That's why it's called access to all kinds of images. And for what I've learned from working with the community is that not everybody realizes how rich the Cricut Access images and projects are in Design Space. There's a lot there. So in addition to projects, which is over here on the left-hand side, if you go to projects, this would show you all of these projects here, right? Which you can use as jumping off points. But in addition to that, let me go back to my canvas. Okay. So in addition to that, there are all kinds of things built in to Cricut Design Space through Access. So here is one that I wanted to show you this morning. This is by a a design studio called Rob and Bob Studios. And it's a small one. It's not Laurie Whitlock. It's not, you know, Anna Griffin, but there's quite a few great projects here, including, let me see if I can show you this one. And I wanted to show you this one. Oh, is this the one? Nope. This is not the one. Okay. This is one we've done, and I think I'll do it again when we start our Christmas in July series, which will be starting soon. But here is a Rob and Bob that we did last December that is so adorable, and it can be done in so many different ways. It's basically the old-fashioned, I think they're called C9 images, what do you call them, Christmas lights. It says merry and bright, and it has layers, and it has drawing and everything else. So I found this through the Cricut Design Space search engine, and I'm going to show you how to find them today. Okay, and yeah, we're going to do budget. We're going to focus on being budget friendly, but still creative and still coming up with some pretty amazing things. People will still say, wow, you made that. And you can avoid going and buying things, you know, at the dollar store or whatever. So so let me show you how I found these images. I'm going to point you to them, and then there's a plethora of ideas there that I want to show you. So first we're going to go to search. Okay, we're going to go to image search, and we do that by pressing on here, image. Okay, and we're going to go to one of my favorite places, and that is image sets. That's right here under highlighted categories, image sets. If you're an older Cricut crafter, this was formerly the cartridges section. So these are the images that were put together into sets that are similar in some way, and in some ways they are. It's the designer, sometimes it's a theme, sometimes it's a franchise like Star Wars or Disney or, you know, Hello Kitty. But in this case, we're going to be searching on a designer, and we're going to use the word, or the first name, Rob, R-O-B, and we'll just type that in to image sets. We're in image sets, okay? So if you type in R-O-B and we do the search, you will see not as many as like with Anna Griffin, but you will see about 10 results here. And most of them, and I say that most, have this A. That A means that everything in that grouping is free to you to use as long as you are a Cricut Access customer or subscriber. Okay, so for instance, if you decided to let your Access projects or whatever, your Access subscription lapse, then these would no longer be free to you, even if you made a project with them. I hope that that's easy to understand, because it's an encouragement to be subscribers, okay? So that's what Access is about. And in these 10 things, there are actually, I think, all but like 2 or 3 of them, yeah, all but 2 of them are Cricut Access. So it's pretty broad range of stuff. The only ones that aren't are this Halloween, and then there's a Christmas grouping. But there is this great grouping called the Best of Rob and Bob that has everything under the sun in it. It has there's our Merry and Bright card, and it has some other cards, like lots of Christmas things, but Halloween, and just different things. There's Valentine's Day. Look at here, this cute congratulations card. So there's a lot of really great cards that you can find. So let's go back. I want to just go back because I think... Yeah, so I got this image from one of these collections called Rob and Bob Garden Whimsy Collection. But there's also a really nice one called Animal Crackers Collection, Artspiration. This is mostly like the old artwork that they used for a calendar. And then there's Halloween, there's Christmas. So let's focus on this card here, these two groupings. This one's called Garden Whimsy. So we're going to click on that, and you'll see that we have 5 different images, 4 of which are cards, and 1 of which is just an image. And I know that they're cards because they show the back here. Now, if you are a Joy user, you can still find these images and you can modify them for the Joy. But what you won't be able to do is to cut a big whole card like this. So you'll have to modify the image by cutting it here and making sure it doesn't exceed 4.25, okay? So here's our image that we're going to be working on. Let me just see. It's probably not. Yeah, here you go. So here's the image that we're going to be working on. So we want to grab that and pull it into our canvas. Now you notice when it comes in a canvas, it comes in very small, and that is just something that we have to deal with. I generally, if I'm not working on my Joy, I generally make my cards 5 by 7. That's the standard size, 5 inches. It can either be this way, 5 inches across, 7 inches down, or this way, 5 by 7. But one of the things you have to think of when you're making a card with your Maker or your Explorer is that you're going to need to make the second half of the card. So invariably what ends up happening is we have to size for the entire card, right? So this is 5 by 7, but we need to make this 10 by 7, okay? And we do that by just pulling here on these things, these little arrows, or right here, the right-hand side. And I'm looking up here where it says size, width, and height, okay? Now, I could either pull it to the size that I want, or I can look at it and say, okay, I want my height to be 10 inches. I can just put the number 10 in there, and it would immediately resize, and it would resize proportionately. Okay, so you can do it that way, or you can use these little arrow things and make it whatever size you want. But for me, I always do it in a 5 by 7, or I might do it in the A2, which is like 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. That's A2. So those are the 2 size cards I generally use, 5 by 7 or the A2 size. But when I'm doing something this detailed, I like to make it 5 by 7. I just feel like it feels like a more substantial card. Okay, so you do need to resize some of these, and that's okay. Just keep in mind that I need to make the entire card. So if you were to size it 5 by 7, it would look like this, and you'll end up with a very small card. So just go ahead and resize it with one of the measurements to be the full width of the card, okay? Now this card is unique or different because it has writing on it, and I'm going to show you this one here. This is the one I was working on this morning. I'm going to ungroup it to kind of show you the layers. So there are 3 layers. This is the outside part of the layer. It's very detailed. Then you have an interior layer, has nothing on it except for scoring, okay? And then you have this piece, which is actually fits below that very detailed piece. That's adorable because you're not, if you didn't have that piece, you would end up with this pink one. And let me tell you why I really like this. I like this because I can then put a sentiment here without it showing, okay? Without it showing and peeking through the front. And that's why I really like that hello thing. But if you didn't want the hello, that's fine too. And remember, you can find your sentiments in Design Space. Again, going to images, and I found that there are a lot of sentiments that are pre-made for us under Anna Griffin. She does a lot of cards, you know, and this is where you would find the bulk of the sentiments. So this is a hello card. So maybe you want to put something like thinking of you here. So we can just pull that in. You don't have to stick with the same, designer or the same grouping. You can just take this and put this here, and you can resize it however you want. And if you're thinking, oh, well, this is going to show through, it's actually not, because even though this is the front of the card in our mind, you can just fold it to be the inside of the card, okay? So so there's that. So here we've got the external, or maybe it's more internal piece. This is the outside piece. This is like a layered piece that has writing on it. But you'll notice we have all of these little cutouts, and they're in a bunch of different colors. Now, when we want to see how many mats we're going to get, we go over here to Color Sync. I'm going to make sure you can see this. So when you go to Color Sync, it tells you all the different colors that you're going to use. Now, you know that the yellow, the bright yellow, is going to be that big piece that says hello on it. And then the pink is going to be the big piece that is the interior part, and then the green. So these three pieces, the yellow, the green, and the pink, we need a regular size piece of paper for, because they're pretty big. But the rest of them, it ends up being, these are all like pink, there's orange, there's blue, and then there's like kind of a purple, two color purples. Now you don't have to follow this color scheme, but to just see this, to know how many mats I'm going to have. So in this case, aside from those three big pieces, I'm going to have a pink piece, an orange piece, and then like two purples, and a blue. That's 5 different mats. Now, yeah, you could use a big old piece of paper, but it's going to just cut out this little tiny bit, right? And so I would rather use my little scraps to do this. Now, there's 2 ways that you can do this. You can put them all on the same mat because they're small enough, or you can cut them out separately. And to cut them out separately, it's the same thing as you normally would do, which is you'd have, in this case, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8 different mats, right? And that's okay, but if you're not in the mood to cut out all different mats, you can sort of consolidate your colors, and here's how you do it. If you wanted to make all of these things be their own, all of these things be with scraps, here's what you would do. You have to turn them all into the same color, okay? So we're going to take like all these orange ones, see up here. So I'm going to take these orange ones and pull them into the pink ones. And then I'm going to skip the yellow, skip the green, take the blue one, pull it into that, like this. So now I end up with 4 mats. I have 1 mat that's going to be all the little pieces, and then I have my green piece, my yellow piece, my pink piece, okay? Now, here's what we have to do is when we go to make it, you'll notice that all of those pieces are appearing this way on the same, assuming that it's one color. But we don't want them to be one color, right? We want to use our scraps. So what we're going to do is to use this part before we get to the materials and determine which color we want them to be. So in my, and then you can do this either on your own or you can look at the original. But in this case, I know that the butterfly is orange and then the top of this is orange. So I'm going to group those 2 together. Let me just move them down here. Then I also have an orange underneath this piece here, which ends up being this one. Okay. Then I got a pink. This is going to be, I have pink here and pink here. So let's move the pinks down here. This is just until we can just group them correctly, okay? Then I've got this really pretty like flower thing that's going to be, in my case, it was green. And then blue is here. And I'm thinking, oh wait, we got, okay, this one is also hot pink. And then this one is blue. Okay, so now I have 4 groupings and on my mat. Okay, so I have this grouping, this grouping, this grouping, right? 4 groupings. So now you're going to rustle up all your little pieces and you're going to get a mat. So here's a mat, not very clean, but I got, let's see, 4 different colors here, right? And we're going to determine where I want the orange ones to be here. I'm going to take my mat. Now your mat's 12 by 12, okay? So to do this, we're going to just kind of start at 6. So I'm going to put my orange here at 6. And then up here, this color is my green. So I take my green piece and put it up here. Right? I'm making quadrants, really, if you think about it. So I look on my mat and I need it to stay within the 6 here, and I need a blue piece here. I'm going to place it at 6, okay? And then the last one being pink. So I'm going to make sure that it's within that quadrant. So they are. Okay, and I'm going to just put them all on my mat. I'm doing that off camera, but I just want to make sure that they're really good on there, because that's one thing that you do have to be careful of when you're using little scraps. It's very easy for the machine to sort of push them out off of the mat. So you have to have a really nice mat. So this is what, you have to have a good sticky mat. And you have to make sure you put it really good on the mat, because sometimes it will lift. So this is what I'm looking for. Right? And I'm tricking out the system and saying, this is exactly where I want these pieces to go. It doesn't know that I'm using 4 different colors, but I'm doing that to save time. So I'm going to go ahead and allow this to pick the material. And which I always use medium cardstock when I'm using regular, here it is right here, cardstock medium. And by the way, you know, you can browse all the materials. If you want to see this materials and you have an Explorer, you need to turn your dial to custom, and then you will see this material set, okay? Or you can also use the dial thing that is cardstock medium if you have a dial on your machine. But this is a maker, so it immediately brings me to browse all materials, and it gives me my favorites. But if you don't have medium cardstock favorited, which I do, and by the way, you can favorite anything you want by just clicking on this star. Okay, so I'm going to choose medium cardstock. And you see that our screen comes up as medium cardstock. So I'm going to bring you over to my maker so you can see how this cuts out, okay? Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's my maker. And we have 4 mats now. We have... I didn't show you that part, but we have the yellow, the green, the pink. Those are our big pieces. And then we have our 4-piece mat. So we're going to put it into the machine. Okay, good, Wanda. So we're going to put it in the machine and let it cut. And it will go exactly where we placed those images on our mat in that middle screen. That's why you have the middle screen, is to move things around so you can save material. Oftentimes, the way that it shows up on the mat in that middle screen isn't the way that you want it to be. Let's say you have 2 pieces that you know would be fine on the same mat, but the computer decides no, they need to be on separate ones. You can move them. You can move them around, and you can move them from mat to mat. So while that's cutting out, I'm just going to get ready my other pieces, which is the yellow, the green, and the pink. So I'm just doing that while this is cutting out. All right, and the green. So it's done the pink. Now it's working on the orange, and then it will move up and do the top pieces. And in the meantime, I have my other 3 pieces of paper. Now you see, this is a 12 by 12 piece. It's way larger than I need. So this is going to become a great scrap piece for me after I cut out the piece. And then also on these 2 mats, I'm using 8.5 by 11. And I'm going to tell you that you need to orient your mat the way I ungrouped, Dorothy. Yep, I did ungroup. Not sure if that matters. I don't think it much matters if you ungroup or you're grouping, as long as you're turning all of those little cuts into one color, it will appear on the screen that way. Okay, so here are my other mats. Now I'm using 8.5 by 11, and I'm going to show you on the screen why I oriented the paper this way, because it's going to cut out that way. And if I orient the paper the other way, it will just cut right out on the mat, and you'll miss part of your cutout. So now it's doing the blue, and then it will do the green. So we'll let it do that. Actually, and let me just take you over where I'm talking about. So on this mat, and by the way, you can play with mats while it's cutting another mat. So on this mat, you see, it's oriented this way. Sometimes it orients this way, but we want to make sure that our paper is going to work with the cutout. So when you're working with 8.5, you don't always have to have a 12 by 12 piece of paper. You can use 8.5 by 11 and put it this way. Okay, and that's how the pink is also like that. See, the pink is oriented that way. Now the yellow, it doesn't much matter because I have a huge piece of paper on the yellow, so it really doesn't matter. But it appears at the top left-hand side. Okay, we're done. And we have all of our little pieces. I gotta move you, but we have all of our little pieces. See? Just take them off. It's hard to do this with one hand. But we have all of our little pieces that we have cut out. Okay, so the question is about strong grip mats. Here's my thing about mats, is that I use them over and over again, even when they lose their stick, and I do wash them. I do clean them off because I work with paper. I end up using a lot more mats, okay? But that's okay because what I end up doing is rotating them, and I wash them using soapy water. Now the strong grip mats are strong gripped. So what I do is I use them when I first get them, I use them on something other than paper because they cause paper to curl. But let me get this started while I'm talking. But with once you start using, if you're using paper or whatever, they kind of lose a little of their stick, and that's when I start using it for paper. So they just don't last as long as I want them to. And again, being a very frugal person, I find that the green ones don't last as long, but that the purple and the blue last longer. I don't know why that is. Okay, yeah, and here's Sydney saying Snap Mat. There's also another thing, I'm not going to show you that today, but it's called Snap Mat, where you take a picture of your mat and then you're able to move things around like that and have the machine cut it. So this is basically the human version of Snap Mat. So now I'm going to do the green one. I'm going to show you. I changed it. It asked me for my scoring wheel, and I edited it to be the scoring stylus, because I know most people having the Explorer, they can't use the single scoring wheel, so they have to use a scoring stylus. But for me, I didn't want to swap out my scoring wheel. I only use my scoring wheel when I'm doing a lot of scoring. So that's this here. So let me move you over here so it can show you that it's going to do this. Remember, on Friday, it's going to do the scoring first, and then it's going to do writing if there is any, and then it will do the cut. So it's going through, it's doing the scoring now, and then it's going to start cutting. And I'm going to show you the yellow one next, because that has the writing on it. So this one will take a little while to cut so it can answer questions. In terms of cardstock, like what I use, okay, do ungroup. I want to make sure I answer all the questions. So yeah, scraps are really important. I can show you over here. I keep them all here. See how that's my scrap pile. It's just my current scrap pile. So I keep them all there. And I usually cut them out. And I cut out like pieces like this. Now this might be too small, you know, to keep. So I might, and I always recycle my scraps. And my recycling guys take it. I don't know, even if it's cut really small. So let's see. As far as the mats go, if you're using little pieces of paper, I really strongly encourage you to use a good sticky mat, because even with this one here, the green didn't cut out. So I have to go back and do the green ones. Or maybe we'll just skip it for the tutorial, but I would go back and do it. Also, when you're doing these little cutouts, you know, you can use your little pick to take out these little pieces right here. So you can do that too. They make a tool for this, but why bother, you know? So you just use your pick and pick out your little pieces. Let's see. I get most of my 8.5 by 11, almost all of my 8.5 by 11 inch paper from Michaels, which most of us have access to a Michaels. They're everywhere. I buy it when it's on sale, obviously, but I buy it in groups. It comes in a pack of 50. Sometimes it comes in one color. Sometimes it comes in one color, sometimes it comes in multiple colors. So here is what I'm talking about. It's a 50 pack of Michaels Craft, okay? And it's really great. It cuts wonderfully on Cricut machines. And I just like this piece. It's great for the joy especially, but it's perfect for one card or even two. This one paper can be cut this way and make 2 cards, okay? And then let's see if there are any other, okay, mats we talked about, paper we talked about, the scoring wheel. So if you have a maker and you have a scoring wheel, you could definitely use the scoring wheel in this case. But I'm using the stylus, okay? And let's see, I didn't realize this was going to take so long to cut out. So we'll just have to stick with it. Any other questions while we're waiting for it to cut out? Let's see. Let me tell you about the glue that I use. This is something that comes up with all my paper projects. This is the glue that I use. It's called Art Glitter Glue. You don't have to use this, but I really do like it. Oh, Jane. Hi, Jane. So she received her, Jane was one of our winners in June. We actually announced some winners going, let's see, at last Saturday's date night. And then I was going to ask you also about date night this coming Saturday. We've been mostly doing designers, and I thought, why don't we kick off a Christmas in July, and I can show you how to make gift tags and some Christmas cards so you can make them ahead of time and put them away for the holidays. And I've got some great Christmas crafts that I want to show you. But I always find come Christmas, I'm like rushing to cut out all my cards. So I like this Christmas in July. So I wanted to do maybe like, I don't know, six or seven different kinds of crafts. Yeah, Fast Cut. I do use Fast Cut a lot. Yeah, cards are my, so Constance asked about fast cutting. There is a fast mode in cutting on any of the machines. Are cards yeah, I'm primarily a paper crafter. I like to build things that are 3D. I know how to do all of the stuff, you know, vinyl and iron-on and infusible ink, but I do like to do paper crafts mostly, and that's what I show mostly. Oh, Australia! We've got hi, Coral from Australia. Okay, so Constance and a few other people. Yeah, Fast Cut's pretty awesome, Dorothy. So if you didn't know about this, it's called Fast Mode, and it's only available once you put your mat into the machine, okay? And when you put your mat in the machine, before you press the button to go, on the screen, you have to use this little toggle, and it's to fast mode. This increases the cutting to twice, and which is what I should have done for this one, but it's almost done, given how detailed this page is. But fast mode would basically take half the time away from it. Now, I only use fast mode when something is not really detailed cut, because I feel like it really does go so fast that it doesn't really do those details. But I don't know, maybe that might be my brain working. So it is awesome. Yeah. Okay, Christmas in July it will be on Saturday night. I've got some great cards, including the one I showed you just earlier today, and then I've got some awesome draw and cut Christmas tags. So beautiful. I love them. I do them every year. And not to leave anyone out, there are like just season's greetings ones, and there are some Hanukkah ones as well. So it's not just Christmas. And then we've got a wonderful I've got a wonderful Anna Griffin card that I love to do, actually two of them. One's a candy cane and the other one's snowflake. So it can be anything, happy holidays or season's greetings. Doesn't just have to be Christmas. And then, of course, with this grouping of Rob and Bob, there's a couple that we saw that we'll probably pull in those things. So yeah, I've been making my own Christmas cards for years, and I love it. Okay, so there is cut out, and let's do the yellow one next, because it's going to require a pen. So put the yellow one in. You're gonna have to take out the scoring stylus and put in a pen, whatever color you want. Remember, when you're putting it in, even the stylus, you have to hold the bottom, wait for the click, and then close it, and then you can go ahead and cut it. Now, taking one of the things that's really important when you're taking something off a mat, especially something this detailed or that has like a crease in it, is what you want to do is you want to bend your mat like this, and then peel the mat away from the project instead of peeling the project away from the mat. This will preserve anything that might be very, very intricately cut. See, pull the mat away from the project rather than the other way around. And you might have, you know, little pieces that stuck. That's okay. Just use your finger to cut those little, or to get those little pieces out. And we're done with the yellow. Here you go. So here is a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and all of this is going to become scrap when I'm done. And there's my hello piece. And then the last piece being the interior part of the card. And that requires the stylus, which we'll do here. And that's a pretty easy cut. Okay, so here are the two main pieces. I'm going to show you how to put this together real quick, and then we can finish up for the day. But here are this piece is going to go under this one. But I don't want to see the yellow because it has a tag there. But I don't want to see the yellow. This is where joy cards are a little different. When you do joy cards, you see that piece there. But I don't want to see that, and that's why the pink is coming up. Okay, it's almost done with the pink, and then we're going to move you over so you can see. Let me just grab it off the machine. Okay, so then we have it's kind of like a liner piece, all right? All right, so let's go over here. So that we've cut out everything. And here is what we need to do. So these are our three big pieces right here, you see? And then, wait, let me move you. You're not seeing. Okay, so here's our this is the main piece that has all those cutouts. And you could certainly do it just this way, but the other way is to put this piece in and then put all our little pieces here. So let's do this part first. First, we have to make sure we're folding it on the crease, and this one too. Now, sometimes when you get cuts close to this, it becomes a little hard to do that crease, and you have to do it either on a flat surface. And what I've found out when doing cutouts like this, you need to make sure that crease is really good because it sort of lifts a little bit. Okay. Hi, Roxanne. Okay, so there is our main piece, and here is our little hello square thing. So we're going to turn it this way. Let me move my keyboard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue, and I am going to put the glue on. I always struggle with having you see all of it. I'm going to put the glue on the little tiny pieces. I want to make sure that it's open. These pieces, especially the pieces that are sticking out, it's going to get important in a second. Why is my glue not working? Oh, here it is. Okay. So these little pieces here, like the edges and everything, you're going to want to just put a little tiny drop on those pieces, especially because they're sticking out and you want them to stick to the liner piece. Okay. So I'm going through and putting it like this butterfly on the antenna and all over here. And you'll do a much more detailed job than I will, but just, you want to get it all over. Now, as far as the around the card, you need to get close to where the cut is because this piece is not as wide. It's not as big, okay? So we need to get close to the cut here because otherwise you'll have the glue sort of seeping out and you don't want that. Okay, so continue to put the glue on there. I'm not going to do all of it, but you'll know, okay? You'll do it differently. So then we take our hello, and we're going to put it this way, right? Because this is the, and you notice that this piece is smaller. See, I have a little, edge around it, but you want to make sure you're covering all the cut pieces. And then we have our pink piece, and it's going to go over, but on the edge, right here, on this edge. But it's still not as, you can still see some of that original, you know, the green. So put a little bit of glue on there and line it. Don't put glue on both sides, okay? Leave the back unglued because A, it's kind of a professional look, and B, it makes folding the card a little difficult. But you do want to make sure you're at that crease, okay? So here is our card. You could stop here if you wanted to, and it's really cute, or you can take your pieces, and this is what I mean about being close to the edge on the top, is sometimes it buckles, so you just put a little bit more glue there, okay? So then you just take your pieces and you just match them up to the flower. So this one here is an example of one. So we're going to just put this here and here. And we just continue on with our little pieces and place them in all the different places, right? So this one here, need to take out the little pieces out of there. And that is how you do a multicolor card with your scraps. So save those scraps, people. And if you're not already a Cricut Access member, you might want to consider becoming one. Really, there's so much in there, and I'm going to try to focus more on Cricut Access crafts because there's so much there, and for the most part, you know, most people are paying for it already. Why not use what you already have, right? So that is today's presentation of, or today's Cricut Chat of how to use Cricut Access and your scraps. Okay, and that's it for today. Tomorrow, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I do know. We're going to do draw and write tags, paper tags, but not for Christmas, okay? We're going to do the draw and write tags. So there's a bunch of these cute little animal ones that we're going to do, and I'll find some more. So for other occasions, such as a new baby or a wedding gift or something like that, a shower, or whatever, you need to make a tag. And tags really can personalize your projects, which I really love. So we're going to do that tomorrow, and then the rest of the week, who knows, we'll figure it out going forward. Okay, so thank you everyone for coming today to Cricut Chat. If you're watching this on replay, thank you. Remember that I am live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Facebook, and then I do put these on YouTube as a replay, and then we're also live on Saturday nights at 7 o'clock, also on Facebook. If you are not following me on Facebook, follow me, and then you get notified when I go live. And you can also follow me on my YouTube page, where there's over 300 videos. I counted. There's over 300 videos, almost all of them about Cricut, and different things to do with your Cricut. So definitely. Do I make wood signs? I have in the past made signs. I can do signs if that's something that people would like to see. I also use images from different designers. Sometimes they're free. Like there's one from Burden Avenue that she does a lot of sign images, so we can maybe do that or use other free free images. But I do want to kind of stick with or really try to do things that are free. Okay, all right. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope to see you again tomorrow. And for those that couldn't make it, thank you for watching the replay. I have a wonderful day, everyone. Talk to you tomorrow.